You all know, right? That is not a leader. Like if you have any questions about it, just write it down now. Not a leader. That's just somebody who has a title. And having the title is not leading. Being the leader, inspiring somebody else, that's leading. So when you're in a position where you are working for an asshole, you have other opportunities. You can actually step up and lead, because the people that you are surrounded by, the group that you are leading, the team that are around you, they are looking for inspiration, right? So you can step into that. You can lean in and be that inspiration. And when it gets to be just too much, when you no longer want to be in that vortex that is sucking you down and sucking your team down, you fix your relationship with money. And you get out of the way. And I know that that's hard. It's easy for me at my age to say, well, I can fix my relationship with money and I can get out, right? Well, 30 years ago, that was a little harder to do. Because I had mortgages, I had children that were going through school and were going to be going into university, and car payments, and they wanted ballet and they wanted this and they wanted the other thing. So there are the needs. But you start figuring out, what do I absolutely have to have? How can I actually put myself into a position that I can live this and I can inspire others and not get sucked into that vortex? Right? The other question I have is, how many of you are the asshole? Or have been the asshole? Because I can honestly say that there are people that I know in my life that would say that I was the asshole. And I quite likely was. You need to change your ways. You need to start changing the methodology that you have about being a leader. And you need to start thinking about it in terms of, how do I inspire, right? And if you are the asshole, and that's what other people think, you have to start thinking about, are you looking at people who have just been coddled and they want you to coddle them? That's not really your role either. I know that there are leaders out there and CEOs and organizations that have taken on the role of parenting people who are coming into their organization. Excuse me, but that's not the role of a CEO, to parent. So to the millennial, and I talked about that earlier today, that is looking for that, somebody to parent them because the parents didn't parent them. You can call your boss the asshole all you want. They're not really an asshole, they're just not your parents. They're leading. And you need to get out of the way. So there is always that opportunity of when you choose to get out of the way. Let's talk about something more positive. How many of you have actually worked for somebody who has inspired you? I mean, really. Oh my God, look at the faces. All of you have smiles on your faces. Your shoulders have dropped because you remember that experience of working for somebody who has actually been there. Somebody that you can stand side by side with and say, I'm with him or I'm with her. I trust this. I'm proud to be standing beside this. I am proud to be part of this tribe. And we all know what that feels like. It is the best thing that ever happened to you in life, and it is the worst thing that's ever going to happen to your life all at the same time. Because the best thing is, now you know what it really looks like. Now you know what it really feels like. Now you know what you have to bring into your life so that you can actually emulate this. The worst part is, once you've experienced it, and you go into something else that is mediocre, you kind of say, this isn't my game here. So again, you're back to, are you leading and stepping up so that other people will follow, or is it your time to, again, get out of the way? So I do want to talk a little bit about where I actually learned about all this in my experience of working with a true leader. Jack Wilkinson was the head of the organization that I worked with when I was lobbying. He was ex-military, and I don't come from a military family. Jack was what they call a top gun. So he used, in the Canadian Air Force, he was the individual who taught fighter pilots how to fly planes, right? So he was an elite Air Force pilot. When he came into the organization, Jack's 6'6", I'm not, even in heels, I wasn't. You know, and he had alopecia totalis. And if anybody's ever seen that, it's an intimidating look. So Jack had, I was told, no hair anywhere. I do know he had no hair in his head, no hair in his arm, no eyebrows, no eyelashes, and the rest of it I don't know. But I was told that he had alopecia totalis. It's an intimidating look. 6'6", alopecia totalis, and a very deep voice. And I remember him getting up in front of microphones when he was talking to ministers and senators and Secretary of States in the United States and world leaders. And he was part of the, we went to the United Nations, we went to World Food Organization, all of that. People would cower in front of Jack. And it's kind of like, oh, please just be kind. But he wasn't he wasn't unkind. He was really solid on his expectation of what was expected of people within his organization. And if you disappointed, he would call you out. And he wasn't the asshole leader that would call you out in front of everybody. He would pull you aside, and his favorite phrase was, "Today wasn't your best day." And then he would ask you to pull out your business card. The one time that it happened to me, and I never have forgotten it, he did this to me. He says, "Today was not your best day." And I agreed. It wasn't, because you just don't tell Jack, like, "Oh yeah, I really tried. You know, like, please have mercy on me," so to speak. You know. Because the expectation was already established. He was clear on what was expected of you and expected of everybody else in the organization. So he looked at me and he says, "Loretta, pull out your business card." And I'm thinking, what the heck? Pull out my business card. And at the time I was vice president in the organization. And he said, "What does it say underneath your name?" And I said, "VP. And as he was walking away from me, he said, "Well, effing well, act like one." I've never forgotten that. Ever. Because you know the axiom that we all have, that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? In his organization, what happened in the boardroom stayed in the boardroom. When you walked out of the boardroom, you had expectations that you actually had to uphold. We walked out singing from the same song sheet every single time. And if you let him or anybody else in the organization down, you had a chat with Jack. And nobody really wanted to have a chat with Jack. Not because he was tough. Not because he would berate you. But because you knew you'd let him down. And that doesn't inspire anyone. And he was the most inspirational leader I've ever worked with. And it's been very, very difficult to find that same thing, to be able to emulate that same thing. And all the work that I do has been, what I want to be able to do is looking at that phrase from Nelson Mandela. How do we inspire ourselves, and I mean ourselves, to greatness when nothing less will do? Lead, follow, get out of the way. Choose which moment that you're going to choose to lead. If you are being asked to lead, lean into it. Step up. Be the leader. People are waiting for you. If you're following somebody, and there's nothing wrong with following, to be a follower, make damn sure that you are following a leader. Because why would you want to get sucked into that vortex of nothing, right? And so make sure you're following a leader. And getting out of the way sometimes is when you've inspired your team, the people that are around you to lead, and you see that happening, you can get out of the way and say, "Wow, look what happened." And let them go. It's like children, right? Give them roots and wings. When that's not taking place and you can't inspire because everybody's just following in on that, that they're in the tide that's going out of bad leadership, get out of the way. This isn't your gig. There's something better out there for you. So if I can leave you with one piece, again, it's inspire. That's what we are here to do. As leadership, in leadership, all we're being asked to do is to inspire. And my God, the world is waiting for that. We want inspiration. Thank you.